right, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. To kick us off this morning, we've been joined by several members of Hendrick Motorsports, Jeff Andrews, Alan Gustafson, and Josh Berry, who will pilot the number 9 Chevrolet this weekend. To start, I'm going to turn it over to Jeff.
Well, first, foremost, thanks for gathering here this morning, and just want to say that, on behalf of Mr. Hendrick, wants to make sure that everybody knows that our concern at this time is the health and well-being, first and foremost, of Chase Elliot. And I know there's a lot of questions about the injury and the timing and, where we're going with all that. We'll do our best, to answer a lot of that for you. We don't obviously have a lot of details with this being, a little bit less than 24 hours old for us now. But Chase did go through a successful surgery last night that lasted about 3 hours. He's doing well. The surgery was to repair a fractured tibia, and that's really the extent that we know. There is no timeline at this point in time. We would expect this obviously to be several weeks, but beyond that, I don't have a timeline to offer for you, and we'll obviously work with Chase and his doctors in the future to help determine that. But again, I just can't reiterate enough that for Mr. Hendrick and Hendrick Motorsports, the most important thing is Chase's health and his well-being, and we'll work with him on that timeline. We're going to race a long time together with Chase Elliot, and we're going to win a lot more races together. This certainly is a little bit setback, and obviously Chase is very disappointed, but again, I'm going to reiterate again, the most important thing is Chase's health, and we'll have a seat ready for him when he's healthy and ready to get back in our race car.
All right, so in the interest of time, we're going to go ahead and go to questions. If you can, please try to keep your question to one question, a quick follow-up. If you need additional questions, keep your hand raised, and I'll work to get back to as many as we can. To kick us off, I'm going to start with Jim and go to Bob.
Jim Utter, motorsport.com. Jeff, I just wondered you guys have had plans in the past. How did it work out to get Josh into the car in place of Chase? And is he a long-term solution, or as long as you need him type of solution?
Yeah, I think, given, unfortunately we've had some other situations, that we need to look at alternate drivers, and of course we look to our partners at JRM first, and I do want to give a shout out to Dale and Kelly and LW and everybody over there, Mike Bumgardner, who was very accommodating yesterday when we reached out to see if Josh would be available to drive today. The decision was made a lot about, Josh's driving style, and then of course the fit in the car, trying to find, someone close to Chase's size, given the timing and what we had to work with here and getting him fit in the car last night. Those were really the two main decisions around why we wanted to go with Josh.
Bob?
Bob Hockers, Fox Sports. Jeff, what are Hendrick's policies as far as what drivers can and can't do in their free time, and will this force you to, or make you want to reevaluate any of those policies?
It won't force us to reevaluate any policies, Bob. I think, these guys have to go out and live a life, really outside of the racetrack, and certainly what Chase was doing was not anything abnormal for him. He's an experienced snowboarder. He's been doing it most of his life, and it was an accident. A similar injury could happen falling off a mountain bike or stepping off a curb while you're jogging, and it was an accident, and Chase feels awful about it, but our stance on it is just that. It was an accident, and our guys have to go out and live their life. Obviously, we've let these Alex and Kyle both drive sprint cars. Chase has been in a midget at various times last year, so I don't anticipate a policy change at Hendrick Motorsports based around this.
All right, we're going to go to Claire and then to Jeff. Go ahead, Claire. Can I get a microphone right here? Thank you.
Claire Beeline, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. Can you talk about what you think is fair when it comes to the playoffs and the waiver to request and how it might affect your effort in the next few weeks? You said it may take several weeks to get him back, but how do you look at the waiver or what you might need to do in the meantime?
Yeah, for us, we have gone through the formal process that NASCAR has in place of applying for the waiver. Again, this is, that happened a little over 12 hours ago, so I don't really know where that goes from there. We'll certainly let NASCAR go through their due process and respect their decision when they're ready to make one on how that decision gets made.
All right, Jeff?
Alan, what's your mindset now? How does this change the outlook for the team for this season going forward?
Yeah, I think our goals are still the same. Our objectives are the same. Certainly things have changed, but we want to compete at a high level and make the transition. Right now, my focus really is making the transition as easy for Josh as possible and trying to help him get acclimated to the car and feel comfortable and get to a position that he can use his talent and his ability to be successful. And I think moving forward past that, it's still the same goal to be as good as we possibly can when Chase gets back and win as many races as possible. And we're certainly still in the owner's points, and depending on how the waivers and all the rest of it go, certainly if Chase can come back and we can compete at a high level and win, we can be where we want to be with the driver's side too. So there's certainly a lot of challenges that come with this, but I think we all can learn and grow and find ways to improve and be ready to go when the playoffs come around. So.
All right, we're going to take a quick follow-up from Bob and then to Lee, and then we'll come up front here.
Bob Pockers, Fox Sports. Jeff, can you say, is he still in the hospital in Colorado? And then does he, assuming he was treated in Colorado, that's where the accident happened, is he still in the hospital there? And then is the plan for him to go back to Georgia or to North Carolina for rehab?
Yeah, so what we know, I'll just talk about the facts, as a lot of this obviously is, kind of Chase's personal situation. I don't really want to get into that, but, he did go through a successful surgery last night that went very well. We know that recovery is going very well, and the expectation is that he would be released sometime this morning.
All right, Lee, go ahead.
Josh, just talk about the opportunity. I mean, I know this isn't the way you wanted to get in an A-list car, but after driving 2 races for Spire last year, this is like a night and day situation, gives you an opportunity to showcase your talent.
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, obviously, we're thinking about Chase and want him, this is his ride and his opportunity. And, I'm just thankful for these guys, Mr. Hendrick, everybody at Hendrick Motorsports, thought of me to come fill in for him in this moment. I mean, it's, without a doubt, it's going to be a great challenge for me. But, a great challenge comes great opportunity for me to learn and grow as a driver and work around a lot of really talented and smart people here at Hendrick Motorsports. So we're just taking it one lap at a time, one day at a time, just going to try to – I don't think our expectations are we don't really have any expectations at this point, right? We're going to try to get to this practice and qualifying. I'm going to race my Xfinity car, and then we'll meet some more and talk about it, make a plan for tomorrow. But, it's definitely a great honor to drive for Hendrick Motorsports, and regardless of the situation. So I'm going to try to do the best I can for these guys.
All right, go ahead.
Mark Anderson, AP. Josh, what was your initial reaction when you got the word, and did the fact that you've had success here, does that help as far as making the transition?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a lot happened really fast, man. I just can't. It's just crazy how quick something like that can happen. But yeah, the fact that I've won here twice in the Xfinity car definitely makes it a lot easier. I'm going to be learning a new car here in an hour or so. So at least having some success at the track, I think that definitely gave me some confidence, some more confidence in what I'm doing. So it's just it's been a wild couple of days. You never know what could happen, I guess, when you wake up.
All right, we're going to go Kelly and Claire. Go ahead. Microphone to Kelly, please. Right here.
Kelly, CrownRacer.com. Alan, can you walk us through all the changes that had to be made and how long it took the team to get everything swapped over?
Yeah, it's the interiors are super intricate and everybody's got a different body type. So we went through a lot of the processes. Josh's bucket is the same as Alex, is different from Chase's. We went through trying to kind of get those to work out and had some issue with that. And Yeah, it's. I mean, I could probably sit here for 2 hours and explain to you all the detail. That would be really boring for you, but it's not an easy thing to do, and certainly I think we got Josh into a safe situation, which is first and foremost our concern with the interior. Secondly, a fairly comfortable situation, but he needs to get on the track and run and see how he feels, and we'll certainly make some adjustments from there. But yeah, that transitions, that's always a difficult thing. With Chase, obviously we've had years and years and years to refine the interior package, his seat, leg braces, headrests, etc. for him, and we had to kind of just do the best we can to get it into a suitable position for Josh, which I feel good about.
All right, Claire.
Claire Belang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. Thank you for the follow-up. Jeff, I know you mentioned it earlier a little bit, but can you talk a little more about how Chase is feeling, not hurting, but in his head? How does he feel? What is the conversation with him? We were riding up on the elevator today. Most of what I heard was like, can you even imagine being Chase Elliott waking up this morning and how he feels? Can you kind of tell us?
Yeah, I think, we all know Chase, and, he cares an awful lot about his race team and Mr. Hendrick, and, I think at the top of his mind, he's worried and concerned that he let, first and foremost, Mr. Hendrick down and his race team down, and, text with him this morning, he was, asking how late his guys had to work and things like that, just, on the swap over. So, that's just pretty typical Chase Elliott. He's a great kid, got a huge heart, and, can only imagine how hard this. He's worried about how hard it is on us, and we're worried about how hard it is on him. So, again, first and foremost, let's get him better, and we'll get him back in his seat as soon as he's ready and his doctors say so.
All right, Jeff.
Josh, forgive my ignorance here, but I don't recall. Do you have any experience driving a next gen at all?
Yeah, well, in about an hour. No, I mean, it's, obviously, like I said, these guys, we've already worked some. I mean, we know it's going to be a challenge, but kind of reiterate, like I said before, I mean, at least I've been here, won here. That'll help the growing pains a little bit, but, obviously the car's a lot different. But, these guys, they have some great tools to look at and things to prepare for, and, I'm just going to try not to overthink it. And like I said, just take it a lap at a time and, just try to run all the laps and be there at the end of the race tomorrow.
All right, we're going to take 2 follow-ups. We'll go to Kelly for a follow-up, and we'll end with Bob.
KellyGrandalRacer.com. Josh, going back to what you said about this opportunity, how do you balance the focus of racing for wins in a championship in the Xfinity Series and trying to do the job here and show yourself well, but it also being a car that you have, as you just said, no experience in, so you'll be learning it in the process?
Yeah, I mean, I think you just have to look at it. It's like I said, it's going to be a great challenge, like I said before, but that comes a lot of opportunity in there as well. So, we're going to race. I don't think we've talked. I mean, I don't think we have a lot of expectations for how this is going to go. Obviously my focus is winning an Xfinity Series championship this year, but to get this opportunity to get some experience in a Cup car is great for me. I mean, I obviously want to be in the Cup Series one day. So you never know what could happen. I mean, we're just trying to be realistic, and as for this, I'll be available for these guys whenever they need me, and if hopefully I can do a good job for them.
All right, Bob, go ahead.
Bob Parkhurst, Fox Sports. Josh, have you texted or called and talked with Chase at all? And if so, can you tell us anything about those conversations?
Yeah, he shot me a text and just thanked me for helping out, and I thanked him for thinking of me and considering me for this fill-in position. So, like I said, Chase has been a good friend to me over the years. I mean, even dating back to when I would make a couple Xfinity starts years ago at Junior Motorsports. He was always one of the first ones to help me whenever I needed it, and so, like I said, I'm thankful for these guys to give me this opportunity, and obviously wish him well, and going forward, like I said, I'll do whatever these guys need me, and we'll take it from there.
All right, for Jeff, Josh, and Alan, thank you guys for being willing to spend a few minutes with us this morning. We wish you guys the best of luck this weekend under the circumstances. And to all the media who are here with us, a friendly reminder, we will start our regular media availabilities here in just a few minutes. Up first will be Ross Chastain. All right, we're going to officially roll into our media availabilities here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. We are now joined by Ross Chastain. Ross, thank you so much for joining us. A key conversation this week is just how strong your team has been to start this season. You guys ended obviously in a strong position last year, finishing second in points. Come back strong this year. Just maybe give us a little bit of insight into what's making you guys click on all cylinders right now.
Yeah, I think it's starts with this car. I can't overlook what this new car, not so new anymore, has done for the series and for our team in particular. You know, we've been able to build off the foundation that was CGR and grow it into what we are now, and it's wild. And then rolling into this year, I feel like we're not resting on what we accomplished last year. Nothing is guaranteed in this sport and in life, so nothing more clear than 235 feet painted in front of Trackhouse, where Justin wanted to remind us daily how close we were. So we're working, all of us, in our respective jobs to close that 235 feet to 0.
All right, we're now going to go to questions for Ross. If you have a question, we'll get a mic to you. We're going to start up front with Kelly.
Kelly, CrownRacer.com. Ross, Connor Daly said this week that you apparently had a conversation with him about being interested in open wheel and IndyCar. Was that a serious conversation? Would it be the Indy 500? Can you share your side of that?
Yeah, it was definitely a serious conversation. It's just our Cup simulator is right next to the Chevy IndyCar simulator, so I pass those guys weekly now, and I just had some genuine questions. I wouldn't even know where to start, you know, and I didn't know what to ask him, and so he gave me a lot of advice. Some definitely probably turned me away from it, but some was like, I think that's attainable one day, but I'm focused on Cup racing. So if something ever came about where I could just explore other racing, if it's sports cars, other racetracks, other ways of racing cars with other kind of ways. Every series is different, and every driver in those series has came up a different way. So I just want to be exposed to. I wish I could go race. You know, I could have raced 15 years ago in like another country and just could have gotten to experience that. And I see some kids getting to do that now, and they come up through mainly the open wheel ladder. Us circle track racers, Saturday night short track, we're pretty in the same box, all of us. So I want to get outside of my comfort zone and get outside of the box.
So not in the immediate future, but maybe one day.
With Justin Marks and Trackhouse, you never know. But I would be open for it. But no plans. No, I just had genuine questions.
So what was it that he said that might have turned you off to it? That you said that some of the things he said.
It's the business side.
To kind of follow up on that, Justin hasn't discounted not going into IndyCar at some point, and you know that would be an easy transition other than, you know, Kyle trying to find Chevy rights in Indy. I mean, you could have something in-house and do that. If he did that, would that be the easiest path for you?
I don't know what the easiest path is, and there's been no talks, or this is by far the longest conversation right here today that I've ever had about it. So I just want to race. So if I can do it under the Trackhouse banner and various things, and Justin and I can go, we just have a love for racing. So if we can both go and enjoy it, I mean, you see him off running Trans Am races and is one electrical issue away from another race win last week. So we just share that love for driving cars to the limit. And I don't care if it has fenders, no fenders, if it has ABS or drum brakes. I mean, I want to go race the dirt track 30 miles from where I grew up that I never got to race at, right? I want to go run there. So I just want to race. So if I feel like right now I can put myself in more opportunities than I've ever been able to race. They're different than last night in the truck race, some Xfinity races here and there. My goal is Cup racing, and my goal is circle track NASCAR racing, but exploring the horizons of other stuff. It's just it's just an inner desire I have, and I just love racing. So I love the art of it.
A year ago, you and I had this discussion last week at Auto Club. You were coming off to Daytona and Auto Club were just brutal to you to start last season. Then you went and had lunch with Justin, and you came back and just started ripping off top 5s and 10s. What was that lunch left and what was the message he left you with?
It was not the most pleasant lunch, I'll be honest. I did text him this week on Tuesday and said I was happy that we were not having our second annual post-Auto Club lunch. I went and ate there by myself just to do it, just for the reminder that like it could be that again. It could be not as good as we've got it right now, and to enjoy the moment. But the circumstances around eating on the Tuesday after Auto Club 1 year apart was, just a total 180. So he did a lot of talking last year. I did a lot of listening, and I didn't have a lot of answers for him then. But we went back to work and started, getting the ship righted. So I was really happy this year when I sat there alone and just got to enjoy my lunch and then go back to work at the shop. It's called Tacos for Life. It's right there by the shop, so it's just a easy spot to eat.
All right, Gluck.
What about this track in particular seems to suit you so well? You had a pair of top 3s here last year. You got that big Xfinity win to really set off a lot of things in your events in your career. Why this track?
I have no idea. I feel like there's other tracks that I understand more, and there's other tracks that I've had faster race cars at, but for some reason, there have been some really high, bright moments here. But I look at it like every other track. I study it like every other track, and I studied it harder this week than leading into this race than I ever have before, because I have more tools at my disposal now than I ever have. So I don't have answers. I really don't know why. It doesn't feel any different when I'm on track. There's not like a magic feeling I have where I know what I need in my race car.
How many hours a week would you say you spend on preparation or whatever data you're looking at, whether it's film or telemetry type stuff?
Oh gosh. I don't do a lot of anything else. It's usually my weeks are filled with, they're built out starting from the Sunday Cup race back. So the end of my week is Sunday at the start of the Cup race. And then immediately following the race starts the next week as soon as I get out of the car. And it's all built on being ready for the next start of the next Cup race. So a lot of driving, the Mooresville to Concord corridor for me, back and forth, and in the surrounding area is the bulk of my time. And then in the middle, I fit in calls for like the business side of my life, where that's where all my hands-free calls are. Driving back and forth up Highway 3 is the other side of not actually driving the car. And then when I get to wherever I'm going, it's like, okay, phone calls are off. A lot of time I just leave my phone in the car, because mentally it's hard to, we have to virtually, drive these tracks on simulators. Well, if your mind is on something else, you're not going to be applying yourself. When you're in the car in practice, for me, I can't think of anything else except driving the race car, because if I crash, it's going to hurt. Simulators don't hurt. So it's very easy to be distracted for me. It's very easy to be driving down the backstretch this week in the sim and think about something else. So I just put my mind away to everything else and totally focus on this. So the bigger picture of your question, though, I don't know the hours. Never really kept track, but I have to carve out time away from prep. I don't have a lot else truly going on. This is it for me right now.
All right, we'll wrap with Justin. Go ahead.
Justin Schuler, Kicking the Tires. Just to kind of take a rabbit trail off of that question, high winds this weekend. So does the simulator prep you for that at all, or do you just show up to a track and have to deal with high winds, and how do you adjust to that?
Yeah, no wind in the sim. I'm not even allowed to turn the driver comfort fan on in there if I get too hot. So I have to sweat it out if it's hot. But nope. Yeah, I mean we adjust, like you can adjust how fast you go and how much grip the track has, but doesn't account for wind. So that's where the cool part comes in. That's where race car drivers get to come and put these race cars to the limit. And you catch a bad wind gust. I mean, more dirty air, but like wind crashes race cars, and it can be from dirty air of other cars a lot of times. But if it's as strong as they're talking about, if it's going to get that bad, it doesn't feel to me that bad right now, but if it gets that bad, then we'll feel it inside the cars.
All right, Ross, thanks so much for spending some time with us. Best of luck this weekend.
Thanks, Amanda.
All right, we'll now be joined by our defending race winner, Alex Bowman. Obviously, just referenced you won this race a year ago. Tell us a little bit about what you're looking forward to coming back to Las Vegas this weekend.
Yeah, for sure. I really enjoy this racetrack. The results may not show it over the years, but it's definitely been one of my best places. Probably coulda, shoulda, woulda won 2 or 3 of them here, and backed into one last year. So glad it worked out well, and hopefully bring home another trophy like that.
Open for questions for Alex. If you have one, raise your hand. We'll get a mic to you. We'll start with Bob and go to Claire.
Bob Pockers, Fox Sports. Well, with what happened to Chase, will that make you reevaluate anything that you do outside the racetrack?
No, I think, obviously really unfortunate what happened to Chase, and, hoping he heals up as quickly as possible, and thinking about him for sure. But, until somebody tells me any different, I'm just going to keep doing my thing.
All right, Claire.
Claire Beeline, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. Did you text or send a message to Chase? And, a lot of conversation with drivers, you can't stop living your life, yet you guys have big, important, high-paying jobs. How do you look at that? Hendrick Motorsports says they're not going to reevaluate what you guys are allowed to do, but how do you think he feels, or did you communicate with him?
Yeah, so I shot him a text, but it's hard for me to say how he's feeling. I definitely, I know what it's like to miss races, obviously from a little bit different of a situation, but it's a bummer for sure, and we all want him back as quickly as possible. So, I think on my side of things, like, obviously I race other stuff throughout the year quite a bit, stay pretty busy with that. And, I really enjoy doing that stuff. I think, for me, like, driving other race cars helps me on Sundays. So, I think that's something that's important to me. And, I plan to keep doing that until somebody says I can't.
All right, additional questions. We'll go to Gluck and then Lee.
I mean, you referenced it a little bit, but watching somebody else drive your race car, what are the emotions like that when you're watching on TV or wherever you are, do you watch it? Do you have to tune it out? Like, how does that process work when you're not in the car?
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely not fun, especially since Noah threw up in it like every week. But no, I feel for Chase. It's a really uncomfortable situation. You almost feel like forgotten because, obviously everything keeps going except for you. So, that's kind of what it was like for me. I watched every race with the exception of one. I went to an NFL game, and kind of just something my doctor wanted me to do. So, other than that, watched every week, and it's not fun. Obviously went to Martinsville and sat on the pit box for that one. It's just a weird feeling to, be in the race car every week for so long and be a part of this deal every week for so long, and then realize that it goes on, and even if you don't. So it's definitely uncomfortable.
All right, Lee.
To kind of turn the tables on that, you know what it's like to be in Josh's position because you got that shot when Dale Jr. had to be sidelined. what do you think about going in? Because it's like you are on a major stage being with Hendrick Motorsports. There are no excuses, right? I mean, is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a hard situation to step into. Obviously, you know, we had some success when I filled in, but it's really hard. I think it's only gotten harder as with the next gen car coming in. You know, the Xfinity car used to be so similar to a Cup car, and now they couldn't be more different in how they drive and how you can approach how to aggressively drive them and everything. Plus, when I came in, I had a couple years of Cup experience already, so definitely different. But you know, I think it is a good opportunity for Josh to learn and to see how Hendrick Motorsports operates and the things that we do, and to be a part of an organization like that, even though it's through a situation that nobody wants. I think it's something you can grow as a race car driver from and learn and show everybody what you've got.
We're headed to your home track next week. What kind of pressure is there, and why haven't more drivers come out of Arizona to run in the top NASCAR tours?
Yeah, a lot of pressure. I feel like I've run poorly at that track quite a bit, so I would just like a good solid day, honestly. If we went and just ran top 10 all day, I'd be pretty happy with how the last 5 years have gone there, you know. But as far as why other drivers haven't come out of Arizona, I mean, I think there have been a lot of really talented guys come up from there, but yeah, it's tough. I think coming from the West Coast in particular is tougher than the East Coast. And yeah, there's not as many racetracks there as there used to be. Obviously, development has kind of stopped down there. So yeah, hopefully that changes and we see more guys come from that area soon. Yeah.
All right, additional questions for Alex? All right, thanks for spending some time with us this morning.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Wish you guys the best of luck this weekend. All right, we're going to continue with our final media availability this morning. We've now been joined by Kyle Busch, obviously a local native here to Las Vegas, winner of last night's truck race. Kyle, thanks again for coming in and spending some time with us. We'll go ahead and open for questions for Kyle. And to kick us off, we'll start with Bob and then go to Gluck and to Mark.
Bob Pockris, Fox Sports. Hendrick confirmed that Chase had broken his tibia. You had both your tibia and fibula broken. Granted, it was the right leg, not left, but what do you feel like the challenges are for Chase to come back from that injury?
I mean, it depends on what and where the break was, obviously. If it's mid-leg break and you get a rod and screws, it's not too terrible. It's not that bad. But if it's something more, knee or ankle located, then obviously that's going to be a bigger issue of a joint that needs to move and bend. And so that's the big piece of what's unknown at this time, from my knowledge anyway. So, but if it's just a regular leg break, like I had, then, it's going to be at least 4 weeks, I would think, just based off of, getting a rod and screws and then your bones starting to fuse and getting a little bit of fusion going. That's about the length that it takes in order to get something going. So I'm sure he's in good hands, but I reached out to him last night and this morning to kind of just talk to him a little bit about my experience in it, and be happy to help and talk to him and help him through all the things that I did that helped my recovery be speedy. Huh?
Can you give us any insight into what you suggested to him?
No, I just told him, when he gets all settled and everything, give me a call. Like it's a memoir. I'm not going to type it.
All right, Jeff.
For part of that memoir, when you can't force your body to heal as fast as you want it to, and at the same time you're trying to rehab and get back in shape to get in the car. So what's it like when you're trying to work on yourself, but everybody else is out there racing? You're not part of the show on a week-to-week basis. Like, how hard is that on a driver?
Yeah, I mean, it can be tough. Even as good of a support system as I had around me during my injury, there was a time when we were watching the races on Sunday, and you kind of break down and miss that fact of being out there and being in your car and having a chance of going out there to compete. You know, that's what we live for and build on our whole lives to have success. So, you know, Chase is plenty young and I'm sure plenty healthy enough that, you know, it's not going to be anything too crazy to go through, but it's just a situation that he's in at this time. And, you know, anything I can do to kind of help that, more than willing to give him, you know, a bit of advice.
Mark Anderson, AP. Kyle, you got a big ovation when you won in California. What did that mean to you? And do you feel like, or do you sense like maybe the reaction to the fans are changing toward you?
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome to hear everything just the way that it's kind of gone on this year, you know, with going to the Clash and running well out there and, you know, getting spun but coming back through, having a good finish. All the finishes we've had, all the races that we've run, we've been right up front and we've been fast. So it gives my Legion, Rowdy Nation, you know, a sense of pride to be cheering us on and having an interest in watching again and not dreading watching again. So, you know, that's what makes it fun for me foremost. And then, of course, too, to see adding to that Legion of fans and having an opportunity to win here in my hometown, you know, to win last week at California. Raced a lot in Nevada, California, Arizona, Utah when I was a kid growing up. So, you know, it's nice to kind of come around these parts and, you know, still score victories. No matter where on the Cup Series, you want to win. Doesn't matter. And so to do that last week at California and to hear the afterwards was really cool. You know, it's awesome to me to hear a little bit of a changing of the guard, which is fun. You know, and hopefully that keeps going.
All right, we're going to go Lee and then Reed. Go ahead, Lee.
Sorry to bug you with this, but I've got a couple of preview questions I need to ask. Phoenix, what do you hope to get out of the test next week with the new short track package?
The practice, the open practice, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know that you're really going to get out there in a group and set up a simulated race or anything like that. You know, we're all just going to do our normal practice where we roll out together, we spread out a little bit, and we go. So, you know, I don't think we'll really get a chance to foresee what our cars will be like in traffic until we line up for the race and go. But as far as practice goes, just trying to get a feel for, you know, what the pace is going to be, what the feel is. Is it going to be way slower? Is the car going to have a lot less grip? All that sort. You know, so that's kind of the biggest thing that you will set up for.
And are you encouraged by the changes that were made to the car?
Yeah. Yes, I would say so. I think that there's a couple different things that I would have done, but I like the direction and the things that they did do. Talking about diffuser strakes, you know, reducing the underbody effects and things like that. I think we tried so hard on that with this car to design that into it, and I think we kind of created another two-headed monster, if you will, with the back of these cars needing to be down as low as they need to be. And last year we had tire issues for a while, and it seemed like the teams kind of got that squared away a little bit, but we're still all battling the same things of trying to get that car as low as you can because the underbody effects are just so huge.
You can prepare for Bristol on dirt, I mean, since it's such an anomaly.
No. Matter of fact, we have way too much practice when we go there. 2 hours of practice on a dirt track that deteriorates is genius. So if I could fix that, we would literally just probably have a 5-lap hot lap in groups, and we'd go right into the heat races. That's it.
All right, we'll go Reed and then Gluck. Go ahead, Reed.
Reed Spencer with the NASCAR Wire Service. As a follow-up to the previous question, could you feel the energy from the crowd when you won last week, and are you as comfortable wearing a white hat as a black hat?
No, all my stuff's black for a reason. You know, it's fun to always kind of play up with the fans and stuff like that. And, you know, my fans especially are awesome. I've got a lot that I wouldn't say I know personally, but whenever you see them at venues or, you know, autograph sessions or KBM when we do fan day, all that stuff, like you recognize these folks and you've seen them for 10, 15 years, you know. So it's interesting just to kind of continue to build off of that with new fans. And it's a lot of fun too. So, you know, people get I guess a different read on me as I'm getting older and getting wiser and all those great things. You know, hopefully that doesn't mean I'm slowing down, though.
All right, Jeff?
You sounded frustrated with the quality of the racing from the field last night, and I was wondering if you felt like, compared to previous years when you would race in trucks, whether they need to do something different, or if it's noticeably different than when you were it's like say like 10 years ago, with whatever they're doing that was frustrating to you.
Yeah, I mean, it was just, I don't know if it's just inexperience or what. I mean, obviously it's a learning series, but if you're not learning coming out of ARCA how to not crash, then you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing well enough. Just a lot of crashes last night. I haven't gone back and rewatched it to kind of see some of the circumstances of some of those, but I would imagine a few of those are probably avoidable. The other thing that's frustrating too is just with the truck series, for as short as stages are, like, why are we destroying our stuff in a 30-lap run when we can come back to the pits and recycle with pit stops and things like that, and kind of shake and bake a little bit with how you get in and off pit road. But the only thought I had was to fix that would be, instead of we had a caution 4 laps before a stage break was coming, and then we went green, and then we had a caution for a stage break. Like, why can't we just run, if we want to go 30, 35, 40 laps, whatever it might be, let's just race 40 laps green, and if we go 40 laps green, throw a yellow. You know what I'm saying? Instead of throwing a yellow 4 more laps, throw another yellow because of a stage break. Like, just change it up. So that's I don't think anything's going to happen to that, but that's just been my thought.
All right, we're going to go up front for a question. We'll go to Chris and in with Bob. Go ahead.
Dominic LeBois, UNLV Rebel Report. Kyle, now that you and your brother Kurt are the winningest brother tandem in NASCAR history after last week at Auto Club, and now that you're back home in Las Vegas, has there been any time to celebrate with friends and family, or is all your focus on this weekend and Brexton's race tonight?
Yeah, no. Unfortunately, we have a small family. It's just Kurt, my mom and dad. My grandmother moved from Vegas back east with us, but she has since passed. So, coming out here, my mom's out here. She's got some friends that she hangs out with. So she kind of does the friends tour, if you will, when she gets back to Vegas. But for myself, one of my buddies that I used to race RC cars with, actually, he got on a road trip last week and went down to Florida for Bike Week this week. So, it's kind of a small-knit group that we have here in Vegas. So it'll be fun to just focus on the racing here at the big track, and then also Brexton tonight at the Bull Ring. So excited to get him over there and see what he's got tonight.
All right, Chris?
Chris Knight, CatchFence.com. Kyle, what's your expectations in your Colic racing debut, and do you feel like that you guys got adjusted with the car yesterday after qualifying?
Yeah, for kind of what I felt yesterday, I'm about hoping for a top 10. But, if the adjustments and everything that we did overnight will go the way that we hope they will, I feel like we've got a shot to race in the top 5. So, that I feel like is doable. Last week Austin had a great run in the car. He was really fast. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to run that car. It's sort of the backup car. But I still feel like with RCR chassis and bodies and everything that it's all really close. And so that's not going to be the problem. It's just going to be the main setup of the car is way different than I'm accustomed to feeling in Xfinity. And I haven't done it for a while too, but that's no excuse. So we'll give it everything we got.
All right, Bob?
Bob Pockris, Fox Sports. As a team owner, do you put any restrictions on your Truck Series drivers as far as what they can do outside the racetrack?
No. I feel like as drivers and humans and whatever, we have to be able to go live life. We can't just be locked up in a room at home and wrapped in bubble wrap. You know what I mean? So I feel like, years ago when I was racing late models and a little bit of dirt cars and stuff like that, Joe would always kind of warn me about, don't get hurt, whatever. Well, then I got hurt in his car, doing something for him. And so I was like, okay, any stipulations you ever had, it's out the window. I have free reign. So it's just a part of it. You never know what's going to happen, but you just deal with it when it comes.
All right, Kyle, thank you so much for spending time with us. Wish you best of luck this weekend.
Thanks.
For all the media who are here, the bullpen is officially open. Austin, Michael, and AJ will...
Jared Haas with FrontStretch.com. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Also, check one of those 2 videos out that we have right beside you. Visit FrontStretch.com for more great content.